There is a fire burning in your chest right now. Stop. Do not explain it away. Do not rationalize it. Do not dismiss it as emotion or nerves or the ordinary flutter of a restless afternoon. That fire is not accidental. That fire is not random. That fire is the signal of the living God burning inside a human vessel. He has personally chosen for this exact moment. It burns in you through every season of difficulty. It burned through every night of doubt. It burned through every morning when you woke wondering whether anything would ever change. The winds of this world tried again and again and again to extinguish it, and failed, because that fire was not placed in you by anything this world can touch. It was placed in you by the living God. It burns with his own breath behind it, and it will not go out until the purpose that lives inside it has been fully accomplished. That fire is why you are here today. Not an algorithm, not a recommendation, not the random collision of a scrolling finger and a thumbnail catching light at a certain angle. You were drawn here, pulled by something operating far below the surface of the ordinary, something that functions in a dimension that no social media platform can measure or explain. Your spirit, which has been waiting and waiting and waiting for a word that matched the depth of what you have been carrying. It recognized the scent of heaven on this message before your conscious mind had time to form a reason for stopping. And so you stopped, and I command you to understand what that means. It means your season has changed. Today, my name is Michael. I stand in the full presence of the Most High as his Archangel, commander of the heavenly armies, shield of the living God, messenger dispatched with divine precision to reach you at this exact coordinate in your timeline. I was not sent with a vague encouragement. I was not sent with a general blessing that could apply to anyone walking this earth. I was sent with a specific word. A word that carries the weight of a legal decree issued from the highest court in all of creation. A word that arrived at this moment already signed, already sealed, already authorized by the full authority of the one who holds every star in its orbit and every breath in every living body. That word is for you, only for you. And today, it changes everything. Before I give you the contents of that decree, I must do something that matters more than anything else I could say. I must bear witness to what you have walked through. Not in a general way, not in the polished language that makes suffering sound poetic and temporary. I am going to look at the actual texture of what these months and years have cost you, and I am going to say it plainly. I see it. The God of heaven and earth sees it. The record of it is complete, accurate, and held in heaven, with more care than you have been shown by most of the people around you. You have spent the great majority of your strength taking care of others, managing the household, managing emotions, yours and theirs, managing expectations, financial pressures, relational complications, health concerns, the perpetual and relentless logistics of a life that never fully stops demanding your attention. And you have done most of this without the full support you deserved, without someone consistently in your corner who understood the scale of what you were carrying, without the financial ease that would have made the practical weight lighter, without the love that would have made the emotional weight bearable. And you have done it anyway, with a grace that others mistook for simple resilience, but which you know is actually the result of choosing every single day to keep going when the private truth was that you were exhausted to the bone.
The first image arrived sealed inside this envelope. Look at it carefully. This is not ordinary art. This photograph was selected by the Archangel himself to show you exactly where he stands as he delivers this message. Take a full breath and receive what this image releases into your spirit.
Heaven has seen every one of those days. The Father has not looked away from a single one of those choices. And today, the record of every sacrifice made, every prayer spoken, every act of faithfulness performed in seasons when faithfulness cost you something real. That record is being converted into something enormous. Something that the enemy worked desperately to prevent you from ever receiving. Something that your own doubt tried to convince you had been permanently reassigned to someone more deserving. But the Father commands me to declare this: that reassignment never happened. What is yours remained yours through every season of delay. It has been held safely in a heavenly account that nothing in this world has the authority to access or empty. And today, the withdrawal has begun. Hear me now. Let me tell you exactly what the record in heaven shows about your finances. Because the Most High, before dispatching me to you today, opened the scroll of your provision and allowed me to read every line of it. And what I saw there was nothing. Like the narrative the enemy has been pouring into your mind during the lean seasons. The enemy lied to you. He told you the lack was your fault. He told you something was fundamentally broken in your capacity to generate, to hold, to manage what God was trying to release to you. He built a case against you inside your own thoughts. He used every month where the numbers did not add up as evidence for his prosecution. He used every missed opportunity as Exhibit A in his argument that you were not favored. I have read the heavenly record of your finances, and the story it tells is nothing like the case the enemy constructed. The record shows generous giving in seasons where you could barely afford to give. The record shows sacrifices made for the sake of your children, your family, your household, that went unacknowledged and uncompensated in the natural. The record shows labor performed at full capacity for wages that did not come close to honoring what that labor was actually worth. The record shows financial promises made to you by people who did not keep them. Resources that were directed toward you and then intercepted before they could arrive. Doors that were opened and then slammed shut by hands that were not yours. And above every one of these entries in the record, the Father has written a single word. That word is owed. Owed to you. Every bit of it. Not as a favor. Not as charity from a God who takes pity on the unfortunate, but as debt, as rightful compensation, as the payment of an account that has been building with heaven's interest rate attached to every overdue installment. When the Most High says that he will restore what was stolen and return what was wrongfully taken, he is not speaking poetically. He is speaking contractually. And the contract is being honored today. The financial tide is turning. It will not turn a little. It will not turn partially. It will turn with the full force of a God who has been watching the record accumulate for years and who has now decreed that today is the day the balance is paid in full. This will arrive differently for different people. For some, it comes as an unexpected payment, a sum arriving from a direction that defies easy explanation. For others, it comes as a professional door swinging wide open, a promotion, a contract, a client, a business idea that suddenly gains the traction that previous efforts could not produce. For some, it comes as a debt canceled, a burden lifted, an expense that simply disappears. However it arrives for you, recognize it for what it is. Do not attribute it to luck. Do not credit it to coincidence or your own cleverness or the random turning of fortune's wheel. Attribute it to exactly what it is: the keeping of a divine promise by a God who is never late and who has chosen today as the precise moment to begin the release.
Before the letter continues, I am holding a prediction card, printed in black and white, that was also sealed inside this envelope. Read these words. They were written before today. They were written for you.
And when the money comes, and it is coming, I am instructing you on behalf of the throne of the Most High to do something that may feel counterintuitive. Give some of it away, not all of it, not recklessly, but deliberately, specifically, to someone whose need is real and whose situation reminds you of your own in the lean seasons. Because the act of releasing what you just received opens the channel wider for the next installment. This is not a spiritual formula. This is the immovable law of the kingdom. Generosity signals to heaven that the vessel has room, that the heart is calibrated correctly, that provision flowing through you rather than merely to you is something you understand and embrace. The God who sees that signal responds to it every time, without exception. Listen, I must tell you about something I was shown regarding your household, regarding someone in your life who travels. There is a vehicle connected to your home, a car, a truck, a van, perhaps a motorbike, something with an engine that carries a person you love from one place to another as part of the ordinary rhythm of daily life. Someone uses that vehicle consistently. They get in, they drive, they arrive, they return. They do not think much about it. Why would they? It has become as unremarkable as breathing, just the daily mechanics of moving from where they are to where they need to be. But I was shown what has been happening around that vehicle in the invisible realm, and what I saw sharpened the urgency with which I carry this message to you today. The enemy assigned something to that vehicle. He has been circling it, studying the patterns of the person who drives it, searching for the precise window of inattention, the precise intersection, the precise moment of fatigue or distraction, or a road condition that aligned with his plan. His objective was not small. He was not looking to cause inconvenience. He was looking to cause something that would send grief into the center of your household and shatter what has been holding your family together. He did not succeed. Not because he lacked determination, not because the plan was poorly executed. He did not succeed because the hand of the Most High intercepted every single attempt. I witnessed those interventions personally, the traffic that slowed at precisely the right moment, the weather that shifted just enough, the mechanical hesitation that delayed a departure by minutes that proved critical the other driver who, without knowing why, chose a different lane. Each of these moments from the outside looked like the ordinary randomness of daily life. But I'm telling you from a position of absolute certainty, they were not random. They were acts, divine acts, performed by an attentive God who made a promise to watch over the people connected to you, and who keeps his promises with a thoroughness that the human mind cannot fully comprehend. Today, the Lord is commanding you to partner with that protection actively. Stop leaving it entirely to the invisible work of heaven. Add to it the powerful weight of your own spoken prayer. Before the next journey from your home, lay your hand on that vehicle, or speak over the person who will drive it, and declare these words with authority. Father, I cover this vehicle and everyone in it with your blood. I assign guardian angels to every road, every intersection, every moment between departure and return. The enemy has no access to this journey. I declare it closed to him in the name that is above every other name. Those words, spoken in genuine faith, create a spiritual covering that closes the windows of opportunity the enemy has been trying to exploit. He cannot enter a space that has been deliberately and intentionally covered in this way. The covering you speak today does not expire. It extends, it builds, and each prayer you add to it makes the protection stronger and the enemy's access more completely denied.
The second photograph. Study every detail of this image. What you are looking at is not imagination. This is the invisible reality that surrounds the vehicle connected to your home right now as you watch this message. Receive this image as confirmation of what the Archangel just declared.
Speak that prayer today. Speak it tomorrow. Teach the people in your household to speak it. Make it as ordinary as locking the front door before you leave, because in the realm that actually determines outcomes, it matters more than any lock ever built by human hands. Now, I want to speak about a woman. You know who I mean. Perhaps her name arrived in your mind before I had finished forming the sentence. Perhaps a face surfaced. Perhaps a slight tightening in the body, that involuntary physical response that the spirit produces when the name of a threat enters the conversation. Whoever she is, whatever history exists between you, the Lord showed me her specifically when I was examining the landscape of your life. And what He showed me about her activities and her intentions, I am now going to describe to you in plain language, because you deserve to understand the full nature of what you have been contending with. This woman has made the study of your life a significant occupation. She tracks your movements more carefully than you track hers. She monitors your relationships, your progress, your expressions of joy or success, your conversations as reported back to her by people in your mutual circles. She gathers this information not out of admiration, not out of genuine friendship, though she performs both when she is in your presence. She gathers it to feed a sustained internal narrative about why what you have should belong to someone else, about why your blessings are undeserved, about why the doors that open for you should not have opened. She has built an entire interior world organized around the injustice, as she perceives it, of your favor before God. From that interior world, she has spoken things over your life. In private, in the presence of others, in the moments when she was alone with her thoughts and allowed them to run in the direction of your harm. Some of these spoken things were deliberate, calculated. She knows something about the power of words, and she has directed that knowledge against you with intention. Others were less deliberate, simply the spillage of an internal bitterness that has been growing long enough that it now overflows without effort. Either way, the words left her mouth with your name attached and went into the atmosphere of the spiritual realm. And I command you to understand what happens to words like that when they collide with the protection covering a person favored by the Most High. They do not land. They cannot land on what is covered by God. They hit the covering, and they bounce back. And this is the extraordinary, divine irony of what she's been doing without knowing it. Every word she sent toward you that bounced off your covering came back to her, carrying the full force of its own energy. Everything she aimed at you has been redirecting itself into her own situation. The confusion she wanted for your finances has been creating confusion in hers. The blocked relationships she intended for you have been manifesting as the slow deterioration of her own connections. The stagnation she prayed into your progress has been sitting on her own forward movement like a weight she cannot explain and cannot lift. She is experiencing the direct consequences of her own campaign, and she does not understand why her life feels increasingly stalled.
Another sealed prediction. Read these words out loud if you can. Declare them as your own truth right now.
Hear this. I am not telling you this so you can take satisfaction in her struggle. I am telling you because you must stop wondering whether her words carry power over you. They do not. They never did. The God who watches over you is not a God who permits the fruit of your faithfulness to be plundered by someone who chose to walk in darkness while you chose to walk in light. He has been managing this situation with a completeness and a thoroughness that your own awareness of it never could have achieved. And he will continue to manage it. What she set in motion is already in the process of completing its return journey. Justice is not approaching. It has already arrived at her doorstep and is simply waiting for the moment of full revelation that the Lord has personally timed. Your assignment with respect to this woman is specific. When the moment of her exposure comes, and it is coming soon, you are to respond with something that will require a genuine act of your will in that moment. Compassion, not pretend compassion, not performative grace deployed as a weapon to appear superior. Actual compassion for a person who became so twisted inside by comparison and covetousness that she ended up harming herself far more than she ever harmed you. That response, in that precise moment, will be the act that fully and permanently closes the chapter on this particular assignment of the enemy against your life. Because it will demonstrate to the watching spiritual realm as much as to the watching human realm that you operate from a different place than she does. That the favor on your life is not despite your character. It is because of it. And heaven rewards that demonstration in ways that become immediately visible to everyone watching. Stay with me. What I am about to share in the next portion of this message is something that God showed me specifically about the deepest place in your heart, the place where your most significant pain lives, the place where the love you offered most completely was also the love that was treated most carelessly. Do not let anything distract you from what comes next. The word heaven has been waiting to deliver to you for longer than you realize, is in this portion of the message, and you have waited long enough. There is a story of love in your life that has not yet reached its ending, a connection that was severed or severely strained, or that exists right now in a state of uncertainty and distance and unresolved feeling that you carry with you into every room you walk into, whether you speak of it or not. The person at the center of that story mattered to you at a level that others in your life have perhaps never fully understood. You did not exaggerate what you felt for them. You did not build something up that was not there. The connection was real. It was significant. It was the kind of love that leaves a particular shape in a person when it leaves, a shape that persists and that other connections since have not filled. I was shown the heavenly perspective on why that connection went the way it did, and the answer I received will permanently change how you understand the distance. This person was not simply choosing away from you. There were forces operating on them from within the spiritual realm, actively working to cloud their perception of who you are and what you meant to them. Dark influences channeled through people around them who had their own reasons for wanting the connection between you severed. These influences created a kind of spiritual static around their understanding of you, a distortion field that made the reality of your love for them harder and harder to access clearly. They were not rejecting you. They were struggling to see you through interference that had been deliberately placed between their sight and the truth. That interference does not have unlimited tenure. Today, the Most High has issued a directive concerning it. The static is being turned off. The distortion field around that person's perception is being dismantled by the same divine hand that assembled the stars. And as it clears, what is going to happen inside them is something they will struggle to explain in rational terms. A returning awareness, a sense of something unfinished that pulls at them with increasing urgency, a remembering that rises from somewhere below thought, below reason, below whatever protective narrative they built to manage the separation. They are going to remember what was real between you. They are going to feel the weight of that reality in a new and unavoidable way. Now, I must say something to you very directly, because the news I just gave you carries a temptation inside it that I must address before it takes root. The temptation is to become consumed by focusing on that person's return, to make their return the center of what you are waiting for, to make it the primary evidence you will accept that today's word was true. Resist that temptation with the full force of your will, because the return of that person, whenever it comes and in whatever form it takes, is not the primary thing God is releasing into your life today. It is one thread, one piece of a much larger pattern. If you fix your eyes on that single thread while the rest of the pattern is being woven, you will miss the larger beauty, and you may be tempted to pull at the thread impatiently in ways that damage the weaving. Do not do it. Trust the master weaver.
Look at this photograph. The Archangel chose this image to show you the spiritual reality of what is happening between two souls right now, a connection that was severed by dark interference, and is now being restored by divine command. This is happening for you today.
There is also someone new entering your story, a person who is not a retrieval from your history, but a fresh arrival, a new chapter, a soul the Lord has been preparing and positioning for an intersection with your life that is now drawing close. This person is different in a way you will feel immediately when they arrive. They come without the complications of shared history. They do not carry a file of old dynamics that need to be renegotiated. They see you entirely in the present tense as the full and complete person that these years of growth and refinement have made you. And they find extraordinary value in exactly what they see. They bring stability, not the performed stability of someone working hard to appear trustworthy, but the organic steadiness of a person who has genuinely arrived at peace within themselves. Being near them will feel different from what you have been accustomed to. Lighter, more certain, less effortful, more like home. Pay close attention to who enters your field of awareness in the coming days. Trust the sense of unusual calm that accompanies this particular person's presence. Do not be so focused on what came before that you walk past what God is preparing to hand you in the present. I must speak now about your body, about specific physical experiences you have been having that may have puzzled or frightened you, and about which the Lord has given me a clear and urgent word. You have been waking in the deep hours of the night, the hours between 2 and 4 in the morning, when the house is at its most silent and the world outside offers nothing to distract you. Not a gentle waking, a sharp, sometimes alarming waking that pulls you out of sleep with the sense that something is present in the room with you. A heaviness that registers before you are even fully conscious. A restlessness in the body that makes returning to sleep difficult, even when exhaustion argues loudly for it. You may also have been experiencing headaches that come on without warning and resist ordinary remedies. Stomach distress at unexpected times of day. Moments of mental fog, a blurring of focus and clarity, descending without clear cause and making even ordinary decisions feel more labored than they should. Emotional fluctuations that do not map onto the circumstances of your day. A flatness, an absence of the energy and enthusiasm that used to characterize you more consistently. Hear this with absolute clarity. This is not a medical mystery. This is not an inevitable consequence of your age or the accumulated stress of your life circumstances. This is a targeted spiritual assault. Someone in your orbit, someone who knows enough about spiritual darkness to direct it intentionally, has been aiming the frequency of that darkness at the center of your household, and specifically at you. They calculated, whether consciously or through some darker form of intuition, that if they could destabilize your health, your sleep, your mental clarity, and your emotional equilibrium, they could create a cascade of difficulty that would begin to compromise everything else. Your ability to function, your ability to maintain the faith that has been your anchor, your ability to pursue the provision and purpose and love that God has been preparing to release into your life. It was strategic, it was sustained, and it has been working to some degree because you have been feeling its effects.
Read this prediction. It is a decree. Receive it as your own declaration right now.
But today, something changes in that situation completely and permanently. The Lord has dispatched a cleansing, a sweeping of the spiritual atmosphere of your home and the spiritual atmosphere around your body. Beginning in this very moment, as you receive this word and open your spirit to the authority it carries, the dark frequency that has been targeting you is being jammed, interrupted at the source by a divine signal that is infinitely stronger than anything the enemy possesses the capacity to transmit. The headaches will begin to lessen. The nighttime disturbances will begin to quiet. The mental fog will begin to clear. The emotional flatness will begin to lift. This will happen progressively, not all at once, because the body and spirit need time to register and respond to the removal of something that has been present for months. But the removal itself is happening right now, in this moment. As you receive this word, there is a specific act of agreement that will accelerate this cleansing and seal it in a way that the enemy cannot reverse. In 67 minutes from the moment this message ends, and you write in the space below these 4 words, I am that I am. The spiritual atmosphere of your home will shift in a way that you will feel in your physical body. It is not imagination. It is not placebo. It is the tangible sensation of divine presence expanding to fill the space from which darkness is being evicted. Many who have done this exactly as instructed describe it as a warmth or a sudden lightness, or the feeling of taking a genuinely deep breath for the first time in as long as they can remember. Your experience will be yours, but it will be real. Write those words when this message concludes. Write them with faith and not with doubt. And then wait those 67 minutes and pay attention to what you feel. I have more to tell you. More that the Lord placed on my heart to bring to you today. And what comes in the next portion of this message requires something that most people who encounter this word will not be ready to give, because it demands a particular honesty about a pain they have been carrying in a very private place. But you are ready. Your spirit has been prepared for this conversation. Stay with me through what comes next. It will require something of you, and what it produces will be worth every difficult moment of receiving it. There is a wound in you that was placed there by another person's failure, not by your own shortcomings, not by your own choices, by the failure of someone you loved and trusted to be what they promised to be. And because the failure was theirs and not yours, there is a particular quality of confusion and raw injustice at the core of this wound that ordinary healing processes have been unable to fully touch. You can reason yourself around it. You can pray yourself to a degree of peace about it. You can pass through entire stretches of time without its full weight pressing on you. But in the unguarded moments, in the 3 o'clock silences, in the seconds after waking when the mind has not yet assembled its defenses, it is still there, still tender, still unresolved in the deepest layer. I will tell you exactly what God sees when He looks at that wound. He does not see weakness. He does not see evidence that your faith was inadequate to handle what happened. He does not see a person who allowed something to damage them that should have rolled off. He sees someone who loved genuinely enough to be genuinely hurt. He sees the direct consequence of a heart large enough and trusting enough to extend something real to a person who, in that season and in that place, did not have the capacity to honor it. The depth of the wound corresponds exactly to the depth of the love. And the depth of that love is not something to regret. It is the evidence of a heart built for covenant. A heart that was made for a depth of connection that most people in this world never find the courage to offer.
This fourth image was placed in the envelope last. I believe it was placed last because it is the most personal. This is what the Archangel sees when he looks at the deepest wound you carry. Let this image speak to you in the place where words cannot reach.
The person who created this wound stands accountable before the throne of the Most High for what their failure cost you. I am stating that plainly, not to generate bitterness, not to encourage a posture of victimhood that would keep you looking backward when God is calling you forward, but because something in you needs to hear it clearly stated. What happened to you was unjust. The pain you carry is not the product of your own inadequacy or your own misunderstanding. It was real. The wrong done against you was real, and the God of justice is not neutral about it. He weighed it, he recorded it, and his response to it is not patience and silence forever. His response to it is the beginning of a correction so thorough and a restoration so complete that when you stand on the other side of it, looking back, you will find it genuinely difficult to believe how far he brought you from where you stood in the worst of the pain. The correction has already started. It started before you came to this message today. You may not have been able to see it yet, because the most significant movements were happening in the invisible realm. But they will become visible. They will become visible soon. And among the most significant visible changes coming, the person who carries the weight of what they did to you is going to be confronted with it. Not by you, not through any action you take or any conversation you initiate, by the sovereign operation of a God whose timing is flawless and whose methods are always more effective than anything we could engineer ourselves. You will see evidence of this confrontation. You will not need to be told that it has happened. The evidence will be unmistakable. Your assignment between now and that moment is this: release them. Not forgiving the action in the sense of declaring it was acceptable, because it was not, but releasing the person from the position of power over your inner life that the wound has granted them. Every time you return mentally to what they did, every time the story plays on the interior screen with its full emotional weight, you're handing them a kind of authority over your present moment that they have no right to. The healing that is coming for your heart from the hand of God requires space, and that space can only be created by the deliberate act of releasing what you have been holding. You do not have to feel ready. You do not have to feel as though you have processed it completely enough. You simply have to make the choice, as many times as it needs to be made, to hand it over to the one who can actually do something with it. Declare it today. Father, I release this person and this pain into your hands. I reclaim the territory of my own heart. I choose to move forward into what you have prepared for me without dragging this weight into it. That choice made from the honest place of a person who is not entirely over it, but who is genuinely willing to be, is enough. The Most High meets willingness. He does not wait for completion. Now, I want to speak about a gift, a specific gift that lives in you and that has been operating quietly in the background of your life for a very long time, often without your full recognition of what it actually is. You have intuition that runs unusually deep. You know things before events confirm them. You have felt the truth about a person or a situation before the facts were available to support what you were sensing, and then watched the facts arrive later to confirm what your inner awareness had already registered. You have woken from sleep with a certainty about something that you could not have derived from any logical process. You have been struck in the middle of an ordinary day by an urgent awareness about one of the people you love that led you to make contact with them at precisely the moment they needed it most. You have walked into a room and felt the residue of something that happened there before you arrived. You have heard a name in your spirit and known that name needed your attention and your prayer.
The Archangel placed this declaration in this envelope specifically for those who carry the gift of spiritual perception. If you have ever felt something before it happened, this word is for you. Read it. Claim it.
This is not coincidence accumulated over the years. This is a gift. A specific, real, divinely placed gift of spiritual perception given to you as equipment for the assignment your life carries. The Lord placed this sensitivity in you because the territory you are meant to navigate requires a navigator who can read more than the surface of things. The people you are meant to help require a helper who can sense what they are unable to articulate. The dangers you are meant to warn against require a watchman who perceives them before they materialize in the natural. This gift is not for your personal comfort or curiosity. It is a tool with a divine purpose that is considerably larger than yourself. Treat it as such. For too long, under the pressure of a world that treats intuition as unreliable and spiritual sensitivity as eccentricity, you have been diminishing this gift, second-guessing it, keeping it mostly private, making sure you have a rational explanation ready whenever it guides you, so that the guidance can be credited to something the skeptics around you will accept. Today, the Lord is commanding you to stop doing that. Trust the gift as it was given to you, without the apology and without the rational backup story. Not recklessly, not without discernment, but with the dignity and the confidence of a person who knows that this faculty is real and reliable and has never once deceived you when you listen to it with your full attention. To honor this gift in a practical and tangible way, carry something silver on your body, a ring on your right hand, or a chain worn close to your heart, not as a magical object, not as a talisman with power of its own, as a physical symbol of the covenant you are making with the gift itself, a daily material reminder that you are a person of spiritual perception who has agreed to take that perception seriously. When your gift is active, when something in the spiritual atmosphere is requiring your attention, you may become more aware of what you are wearing. A warmth, a weight, a presence against the skin telling you that something is being communicated in the deeper language of the spirit. Pay attention to that. It is the gift doing exactly what it was built to do. There is a child coming to your family. I want to be completely clear about what I am saying. A literal child, a new life, a baby who is either already on the way in the natural sense, or who will be announced in the coming months as a pregnancy is confirmed within your closest relational circle. This child is not arriving without a purpose. Every child who enters the world carries a specific spiritual charge, a quality they bring into the atmosphere of the family they join. And the specific charge this child carries is peace. Not the brittle peace of conflict temporarily avoided, but the deep, foundational peace of a family that has been through the fire together and has come out on the other side with something that could not have been forged any other way. This child arrives as the living seal of that peace. The physical, breathing, crying, laughing. Confirmation that the cycle of difficulty in your household has ended, and a new cycle, a cycle of abundance and warmth and restored joy, has begun. There may be people in your family who have been separated from each other by old tensions, by things said in difficult seasons that were never fully resolved, by the slow drift that accumulates when people are each managing their own pain without the bridge of genuine communication between them. Watch what happens when this child arrives. Watch how those people find themselves in the same room, holding this new life, and how the things that kept them apart suddenly feel less important than the shared miracle in their arms. Children are one of the primary methods God uses to accomplish in a single moment what counselors and conversations and years of careful work could not achieve. This particular child has been given a specific anointing for your family's reunification. Receive that truth. And when the news of this child's coming reaches you, allow yourself to weep if you need to, because what those tears will carry will not be sorrow. They will be relief, the release of someone who finally understands that the storm is genuinely over.
The fifth photograph. This one I almost could not hold without feeling something deeply personal. This image represents the new life, the soul of peace that is being sent to your family. Look at this image and allow yourself to receive what it carries.
What I am about to share now is the most practically powerful portion of this entire message. 7 declarations that I am commanding you to make, not once, and not in a spirit of rote repetition, but as genuine acts of agreement with the decrees heaven has released over your life today. These declarations are not my words arranged to sound spiritually significant. They are the distillation of what God authorized me to speak over you today, handed back to you so that your own voice can carry them into the atmosphere of your own life. Because there is a principle operating in the invisible realm that you must understand. What the messenger declares over a life has power, but what the person themselves declares over their own life has a different quality of power, more intimate, more rooted, more permanent. When you speak these words, you are not reciting them. You are releasing them into the air of the room you are sitting in, into the spiritual atmosphere of your home, into the record that heaven keeps of every faith declaration made by every person it has claimed as its own. These words will be remembered. Their effects will not evaporate when you stop speaking. They will continue to work in the invisible realm long after your voice has returned to silence. Speak each one out loud, even if your voice shakes, even if you feel self-conscious or uncertain, even if you are not sure you fully believe every syllable yet. Speak them from the place where the fire has been burning in your chest since before you had language for it. Speak them as the person who has been through everything this season brought, and who is still standing, still present, still opening their spirit to the word of the Most High. Declare this first. My provision is not dependent on the goodwill of any person, the favor of any system, or the turning of any earthly tide. My provision comes from the throne of the God who owns everything that exists, who has my name in his record, and who has issued a decree of financial restoration over my life today that nothing in this world has the authority to reverse. I receive it, I accept it, I walk in it, now. Declare this second. The attacks that were launched against my body, my sleep, my mind, and my emotional stability by forces of darkness operating through people who wished me harm are finished. They are severed at the root. The God who made my body and who breathed life into my spirit is the same God who is driving out the darkness assigned against me. His eviction notice has been delivered, and it is already being enforced. The attacks are done. Declare this third. The love that was taken from me, or that was placed in a season of distance and confusion, is being restored or replaced by a love that is real, consistent, honoring, and specifically designed by heaven to match the full depth of what I am capable of giving. I am not going to settle for less than what God intended for my heart. I am going to receive, with open hands, exactly what he prepared, and I will not apologize for expecting it. Declare this fourth. The purpose that the enemy suppressed in me through years of distraction and discouragement and the endless demands of survival is awake. It is erupting. It is finding its voice. I am not going to silence it again out of fear of what it might cost me. I am going to step into the assignment written for my life before the world began, and I am going to discover, one obedient step at a time, that I was more equipped for it than I ever knew. Declare this fifth. The woman who organized herself against me, who spent time and energy and dark spiritual knowledge attempting to hold me back, limit my blessings, and damage my reputation, I release her to the justice of the Most High. I withdraw my attention from her situation. I choose not to be defined by what she attempted. I choose to be defined by what God accomplished in spite of it, and what he is about to accomplish because of it.
The Archangel included this decree specifically for the moment you speak these declarations. Hold your hand to your heart as you read this. Speak it as yours.
Declare this sixth. My family is covered. Every person connected to me by blood and by love is under the protection of the God who sees every threat before it materializes and who neutralizes it before it can land. No weapon aimed at the people I love will reach them. No accident, no illness, no manipulation, No betrayal, no spiritual assignment of the enemy has any authority over my household. That household is sealed by the blood of the covenant and guarded by the armies of heaven. It is done. Declare, this 7th, I am a person of spiritual perception, gifted by the Most High for a purpose larger than my own comfort or convenience. I will not minimize this gift, ignore this gift, or apologize for this gift. I will use it. I will trust it. I will let it serve the people around me and the assignment on my life with the full confidence of someone who knows exactly where the gift came from and who it belongs to. Say all 7 of those declarations out loud. Say them again if the first time felt mechanical. Keep saying them until they stop feeling like someone else's words and start feeling like your own. Now, I want to speak about the women receiving this word today, alongside you. Right now, in this same moment, other women are hearing these same declarations enter their spirits and set something on fire there. Women in different countries, speaking different languages, when they leave this space, carrying different details in their personal stories, but walking through variations of the same fundamental experience, the long season. The weight carried mostly alone, the financial uncertainty, the love that hurt, the faith that persisted despite everything arguing against it. Women in the United States, in Mexico, in Colombia, in Venezuela, in Argentina, in Brazil, in Canada, in the United Kingdom, in Australia, in Peru, in Chile, in every corner of this world, where people carry their deepest hopes and their most private griefs to the feet of a God they have chosen to keep trusting, even when trusting was the hardest possible choice. All of these women are coming to the same threshold today. All of them are receiving the same divine signal that says, the preparation is complete. The delay is over. The season you have been enduring has accomplished what it was sent to accomplish. And it is now being exchanged for something that corresponds to every promise made, every prayer spoken, every night survived through sheer, stubborn faithfulness to a God who has never yet broken a single word he gave. That exchange is happening for all of them today, and it is happening for you today, not in a future that might arrive. Today, this moment, right now, you are not alone in this moment. You are part of a great gathering of women of faith who are collectively, simultaneously, crossing a threshold that will define the rest of their stories. The community assembled in this space is not accidental. It was built by heaven's design, one faithful soul at a time, until it became what it is now, a company of tested, refined, purified women of extraordinary spiritual depth who are finally entering the season where their depth is met by the provision and love and purpose it was always meant to receive. You belong in this company. You always did. And the women around you in this space are your company on the crossing. You are not going alone. You are going together.
Look at this photograph. This is who you are. This is the gathering of which you are a part. The Archangel wanted you to see your own community through heaven's eyes. Women of tested, refined, and unbreakable faith. Look at this image and recognize yourself in it.
I want to tell you about a sign. One specific, unmistakable sign that the Lord will place in your path in the coming days as His personal confirmation to you that this word was real and that the promises it carried are actively being fulfilled. You will see the number 888. 3 8s together. On a receipt, on a clock, on a building, on a license plate, on a page of a book, on a phone screen, somewhere unexpected and somewhere undeniably visible. When it appears, and you will know immediately when it does, stop what you are doing for just a moment. Close your eyes and declare these words: Lord, I receive your sign. I receive your confirmation. I receive the fullness of everything you declared over my life. Thank you. Keep your eyes open for it. It may appear in the first hours after this message. It may appear in the first days. It will appear. And when it does, it will carry with it a quality of certainty that I cannot give you through words alone. A direct, personal communication from the Most High to your specific consciousness that says, I am here. I see you. I am keeping every promise I made. Now, let me pray over you. Let every word of this prayer land in the specific places that need it most. Father of every living thing, commander of every angel, author of every destiny, I present before your throne this woman who came here today because her spirit would not let her leave. I ask you to do for her what you do for every soul you have chosen and prepared and brought to a threshold. Meet her fully. Respond to her completely. Let nothing that was promised her go unpaid. Where her finances have been strained and squeezed and blocked by both natural circumstances and spiritual interference, release the flow. Open the sources she cannot yet see. Return what was taken. Multiply what remains. Let her experience in the coming days and weeks a financial shift so undeniable that she cannot explain it, except by pointing directly to you. Where her body has been under attack, where her sleep has been stolen, and her energy drained, and her mind clouded by the operations of darkness that targeted her in her most vulnerable hours. Sweep through the spiritual atmosphere of her home. Drive out what does not belong. Restore what was taken. Give back the rest she was robbed of. Give back the clarity. Give back the strength. Let her body feel the full difference between a life under spiritual assault and a life in the complete light of your protection. Where her heart has been broken by people who did not honor the love she gave them. Heal the specific places, not in general, specifically. Touch the exact wounds, the exact memories, the exact places where the ache still catches her off guard. Let your love fill those places with a warmth and a completeness that she did not know was possible until she felt it. And then, bring into her life the love that corresponds to the full depth of her capacity. Let her be seen as you see her, completely, accurately, with the full appreciation of every quality that makes her uniquely and irreplaceably herself. Where her purpose has been sleeping, wake it, fully, permanently. Let the calling she carries come alive in a way that cannot be hushed or ignored or managed into small expressions of itself. Let it demand the space it was always meant to occupy, and give her the courage to make that space without apology and without hesitation.
The second to last item from the envelope. This prediction card speaks to what heaven is completing as we pray right now. Receive it.
Protect her vehicle. Protect everyone who travels in it. Let no plan of the enemy against any person she loves come to any kind of completion. Assign angels that are fully sufficient for the specific threats. Let every journey end in safety and return. And Father, for the woman who has been working against her, do what you do with everyone who sets themselves against what you have blessed. Let justice come. Let truth come into the light. And in the mercy that only you can offer with perfect timing, if there is any possibility of that woman's own heart being changed, let that come too. Because the God I serve is not only the God of the outcome, He is the God of every person in the story. Let this woman who is receiving this message today know, in the clearest terms available to her, that today is genuinely different. That the fire that has been burning in her chest all these years has not been burning for nothing. That it was burning because there was something it was always meant to light. And that the moment of lighting has arrived. In the name of the Most High, by the authority of the covenant that covers her, with the full witness of the heavenly host assembled around this moment, Amen. Receive that prayer. Speak Amen wherever you are right now. Let the walls of your home hear it. Let the spiritual atmosphere around you register the sound of a soul in full agreement with what heaven just declared. Because your Amen is not a religious formality. Your Amen is a weapon. It is a declaration of agreement with a decree already issued by the Most High. It is the sound of a person who has decided, once and for all, to receive what God has prepared for them. Speak it. Amen. I am going to leave you today with an image, a natural one, simple and true. Think of the tide on a shore that you love. Any shore. The shore you grew up near, or the shore of a place you visited once that stayed with you, or a shore that exists only in the imagination as the place where the ocean meets the land in the way that most perfectly corresponds to something inside you. Think of how the tide goes out, how it recedes and recedes, pulling back further than you expected, exposing parts of the ocean floor that were not visible before. How in the going out there is a quality of emptiness that can feel, if you watch it without knowing the whole story, like permanent loss. Like the sea itself has decided to stop coming, like the shore has been abandoned. And then think of how the tide turns, not with a dramatic announcement, not with a warning or a ceremony. The turning happens quietly, at a point that even experienced watchers sometimes miss. A hesitation, a stillness, and then, almost imperceptibly at first, a returning, a gathering. The water that receded begins to come back, slowly at first, and then with increasing commitment and gathering force, until the shore that seemed abandoned is fully returned to, fully covered, fully claimed again by the sea that never actually left. That is what is happening in your life today. The tide of God's provision for you, the tide of the love that was meant for you, the tide of the purpose that belongs to you, the tide of the health and the peace and the joy and the abundance that were always written in the record of your life. All of it has been out. As far as you could see, it was out. And you stood on the shore of your life, and you watched it. And there were moments when you wondered whether it was ever coming back. It is coming back. Today, the turn happened. You may not feel the full force of it yet. The returning, like the tide, takes time to complete what it begins. But the turning has occurred. The direction has changed. The gathering is underway. And what returns to you will fill your shore with a completeness and a beauty that the low tide could not have prepared you to imagine. Everything that the receding took with it comes back in the returning. And in this particular returning, the Father has added to it everything that was held in reserve while you waited. So the fullness of the returning will be greater than the fullness of any tide that came before it.
The final image from this envelope. The last thing the Archangel wanted your eyes to see before this letter closes. A tide turning. Your tide. Look at this image and know, without any doubt, that this is today. This is your shore, and what is returning to it was written with your name on it before the world began.
Watch for it. Stay on the shore. Do not walk away from your post of faith in these final moments before the returning becomes fully visible. The water is coming. It is already in motion. And it is coming specifically, intentionally, abundantly, for you. In the authority of the Most High, sealed by the covenant that cannot be broken, witnessed by all of heaven. Today, your tide turns. Amen.
Before you go, if this message landed in a way that felt personal to you today, please subscribe to Letters from Archangel Michael right now. Every message on this channel is prepared in prayer for the exact kind of soul who found their way here today. Leave a comment below and tell me what part of this word spoke most directly to your situation. And share this video with someone you know who is in the middle of a difficult season right now. What just reached you might be the exact word they have been waiting to hear. God bless you. I will see you in the next message.